Hello folks, and welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. And in this video we're going to continue building on the tower room, more specifically the walls. We are not going to do a lot of work, but we're going through the approach on how I'm going to repair those walls, because there are many different ways to skin a cat, and the same thing is true for old walls. So we've done already a lot of work in this room. We have fixed the ceiling, which is now a nice oak ceiling. We put new window frames in, and now it's time to really tackle the walls. So with the walls I can do two things. I can actually put a wall in front of it, or actually replaster the old walls in one way or another. So I'm going to explore with you the two options that we have. So first of all, a little bit about the walls. So the walls have to be in a good condition structurally. Otherwise it doesn't make sense to cover them up or put a wall in front of them, because you're going to have trouble afterwards anyway. So first of all, fix that issue. And the second point is that the walls have to be dry, or at least some level of dryness. Now, on very old buildings, you may not have very dry walls because there is no water shield in the walls themselves. But on newer buildings, you probably have that shield, and your walls should be dry. Now, I'm here at about 12 meters above the ground, so the walls are supposed to be dry. There's no water coming up from the ground up through those walls and being sucked up to that height, so that should be okay. Nevertheless, I'm going to measure the dryness of the walls, because that's important. Now, a wet wall can also occur by rain. Rain may come in from one side, and this building is facing towards the south and the west wing is getting a lot of rain always. So these bricks will absorb the rain, and that humidity could come through the bricks, because there is no gap between the outer and the inner bricks. So I need to check that humidity, because that will determine what I'm going to do to fix those walls. And of course, today with all the building regulations, insulation becomes a very important aspect. So that's the other element that you need to consider when you're going to work on your walls at the inside. If you have thin walls, you might decide to put an insulation layer at the inside before you erect the new wall or fix the old wall. And the walls in this building are about 1 meter wide. Let me show you that. So from the outside to the inside, that's exactly 1 meter. And 1 meter, that's about 3 feet. So the bricks by themselves are providing a pretty good insulation factor. So I don't have to worry about insulation at all on this specific building. But again, it all depends where you live. If you live in a very sunny and warm climate, then it's a different story than you live in a damp and cold climate. And to measure the humidity of the walls, I'm going to use a humidity meter. It's a very handy device. And all you need to do is to push those two pins into the wall and then actually measure the humidity factor, and you will see if it's dry or wet, or you even have an indication on a scale, and you can select the proper building material. So I'm going to probe on different areas, and I push it in, and as you can see, it is actually dry, as you can see, 0.1%, so this chalk is really good. So this is the western wall, which is getting a lot of rain from the outside. So it's going to be normal that it's going to be a little bit more humid than the other wall, which never gets any rain. So let's measure that out. And I measure 1.2% of humidity. Let me turn this around so you can actually see the actual measurement. Let me clear it and measure again. And you can see the humidity we measure, but it's still dry enough on the indicator. So we should be good on this wall. I have actually measured the humidity in different areas of this room, and I also selected the walls that are more prone to humidity, like the western wall, because of that rain, as I mentioned before, and all of them are well within tolerance of a dry wall, so I'm not going to have any issues with that. And you could actually see that already on the walls, that there are no issues with them. So now the question is, what do I do? Do I remove all the old plaster and then apply a new coat? Or do I fix this old plaster for local patches? Well, removing all the old plaster is a huge job to do. And then you have to replaster the whole thing all over again. I don't know if I'm going to do this, because the plaster on these walls is still very good. And because the walls are dry, I have no real issue with it. And I'm saying that because the plaster which is applied here is consisting of a lot of organic material, and if the walls would have been humid, I would have to have removed this old plaster, because it would start smelling after a while. Let me show you some details on how that plaster is composed. Now this is a close-up of the plaster on the wall. So you have a coat of kind of lime. You see all these small pieces that are inside. This is actually parts of a harvest before, and they used to, when they harvest the grain, they kind of pulverize it, and that's what comes out of it. We call it cuff, I don't know what it is in English. And they put that in there in this lime to enforce it. And over time, because that is actually organic material, if your lime is really getting wet, then it starts to smell. And to finish it all up, they have placed a coat, a very thin coat of plaster on top of that. So it's kind of a two-layer approach. So if your walls are wet, the bricks are wet, then this lime will get wet and the organic material will start to smell, and really it's going to be no good. So, but in my case, that is not an issue. As you can see, this is very, very dry. So in my case, I could actually decide to keep the old plaster because it's still in a pretty good shape in most of the areas. But in some areas, I would have to patch it up big time. And I still would have to cut grooves into the wall to put the electrical cables and the heating system into it. So that's a bit of work, and also would have to find out which parts of the old plaster are loose and which parts are still stuck to the wall. And there's an easy way to do that. And knock on the wall like this, and once you hit a spot which the plaster has released from the wall, you can hear a difference in the sound. Hopefully you can hear it. Can hear it? So this area is loose. Of course you can actually see it, but I just wanted to show you on how you can find it out. By just tapping on the wall, you will hear which parts are loose and which parts are still fixed. So far we know that the walls are dry, that the plaster is in a fairly good condition, although in some places it is loose. And we also know that insulation is not an issue because the walls are more than thick enough. And we also know that the walls by themselves, the brickwork, is structurally sound. So we have a pretty good condition to start. So now I have two options. In fact, I have three options. The first option is to remove all the old plaster, which is a lot of work, and then replaster the whole wall. Provide all the grooves in the walls, put the tubing in there for the electricity and the heating system. I could also patch up the old plaster work on those places where it's loose, based on the knock test as we've done. But that's a bit of work, and then clean it all up, and that will also work. Or I can decide to place a wall in front of it. And I think I'm going for a wall in front of it. Now, even that comes with many, many different options. What I want to say is that never place a wall in front of an old wall which is in a bad state, no matter what, humidity, whatever. It's not a good idea. And if you place a wall in front of another wall, make sure that the old wall can still breathe, because otherwise you're going to get humidity problems no matter what. So let's have a look at what the options are to actually install an inner wall in front of that existing wall. So building a wall in front of the old wall can be done in many different ways, and one of them is using cellular concrete. And these are cellular concrete blocks. They are very light, and they come in different sizes and widths, and they are easy to install. You can actually glue them together, and then you can build up the wall very, very quickly. The good thing about these blocks is that they are light, and they provide a good insulation factor as well. But again, I'm not going to use these blocks. It's a good approach, but the only issue I have with it is that once I've installed the wall, I still have to plaster up the surface, because that surface is not very smooth. So you still have a plastering job to be done, be it with wet plaster or a dry board that you put in front of it. So it's a bit of work. The alternative is plaster blocks. They typically come 60 by 60, so it's about the size of those two together. It's a little bit taller. They come with teeth and groove, different sizes as well, but they are a bit heavier because they are solid chalk. But the good thing is you don't need to finish up the surface afterwards, because it's already smooth chalk, except the joint area which you would have to sand and maybe to patch it up a little bit. But I'm not going to use either one of them. I'm going to use drywall, and for that I'm going to use plasterboard, which is 1/2 inch thick and 1.20 m wide and 2.60 m tall, and I will have to, of course, have 1.5 panel to get the height of my ceiling. I think this is a very economical solution. It's very good and easy to install, and it's very quickly as well. And the only thing now is, what kind of a frame structure will I use to install this? Because these boards can't go onto the wall. It has to have a supporting fixture or structure, and you can do this in two different ways. The plasterboards will require a frame to be mounted against. Now, in some cases you can actually glue them on the wall, but that would defeat the purpose a bit in my specific instantiation, because I want to have a wall in front of the old wall with a space in between so the old wall can breathe. If I glue them straight onto the old wall, then of course I no longer have that breathing space for the old wall. So therefore I decided not to use wood. So I'm not going to build a frame with wood, but I'm going to build a frame with metal studs and rails. And these are the ones. Now I went for pretty thick ones, and these are actually 10 centimeter wide studs, because the height is 4 meters, so they have to be a bit stronger. This is a very easy way to do it, because you're going to put the plasterboards against the metal studs, and then you just screw them onto the metal studs with special screws. So let me give you a bit of a close-up on how these metal studs are working. I'm having a smaller model right here. The only difference is that these are big ones that I'm going to use, and these are very small models for smaller walls, but it doesn't really matter to show you exactly on how that's going to work. So in essence, we only have two types of studs or rails. There is the stud or rail, which just is having a U-form. This is the one that typically goes on the floor and on the ceiling. And then you have other parts which we call the studs, which I have a bent corner, as you can see. So it's a U but with a bend over top of the U. And these are the vertical ones. So they actually go inside the rails on the floor and on the ceiling. And then the plasterboards, they come against it. Now, to hold these in place, there are pliers that you can use with a pin, and you just need to put it in between and squeeze the plier, and it will actually connect the two together. It's a bit of squeezing, but it works. There we go. And let me give you a bit of a close-up so you can have a better view on how that works. So this is the rail of the floor, this is the stud or the vertical part, and now I just need the pliers to go in there and squeeze it together. And you can see that pin moving in, and now you see the hole, and it did bend over just the metal parts at the inside. And now we have a reasonable solid fix. It's not perfect, of course, but it is not necessary, because the panels will hold it together. I'm having a whole pile of these vertical studs, and the reason for that is that I need one every 60 centimeters to hold the plasterboards properly into place. And you'll also notice that these vertical studs have like holes in it, so you can bend this open like this, and this is ideal to feed your cables through. So you don't need to leave your cables loose behind the panel. You can actually route them in between the studs through these holes. And you're going to hold the plasterboards with screws onto the metal studs, and therefore you need these special screws with a very sharp pin and self-tapping screws. Otherwise you can't get them into the metal. It's going to be a bit tough, so make sure you get the right screws for this. These screws, they don't oxidize very quickly. They are kind of protected with a special coat, so you don't get spots on your plasterboards. And you probably wonder what all this insulation is in the video. These are polystyrene panels that have a thickness of 160 millimeters with an aluminum shield on both sides with teeth and groove, and they will be used on top of the oak ceiling that we have installed in the tower room. So they are not part of the walls as such, but they will be part of the ceiling. So they will be installed as an additional insulation factor for that ceiling. We are nearing the end of this video, and by now we know exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to install a drywall in front of the old wall based on metal studs and plasterboard, and at the same time we'll insulate the ceiling. So keep watching, because next week I am on leave and I'm going to wrap up or finish up that room, and you'll see all this stuff that I showed you today in action while I'm installing all the plasterboards, leveling it out and getting it all sorted out, running the cabling and so on. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.